15 verses 2 and 3, bearing the fruit.
All right now.
Okay?
Yes.
Before he comes up this morning, we're going to have, as our song leaders, to fire him up, get him ready, get us ready for
Amen.
I am the vine, and he are the branches.
All right now.
Yes, I'm a high fighting soldier, and I'm on the battlefield, and I am a high fighting soldier, I'm on the now, yes, I am a high fighting soldier, I'm on the battlefield, now keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service. Now, yes, I am a hard fighting soldier, I'm on the battlefield. Yes, I am a hard fighting soldier, I'm on the battlefield. Now, church, I am a hard fighting soldier, I'm on the battlefield. Now keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service. Yes, I got a helmet on my head, and in my hand my sword and shield, and I've got a helmet on my head, and in my hand my sword. Now yes, I've got a helmet on my head, and in my hand my sword and shield. Now keep on moving souls to Jesus by the service. Now Lord, help me to walk right, talk right, and sing right, and pray right. I'm on the back. Now Lord, help me to walk right, talk right, sing right, and pray right. I'm on the back. Now please help me to walk right, talk right, sing right, and pray right. I'm on the battlefield. I'll keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service. Now listen, and he's my rock. Out the mountain, he's a meek and humble lamb, and he's of the living of King David. Yes, he's the seed of Abraham. I said, now one day he died out on Calvary just to set my soul free. Now keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service. Now listen, he's my rock. Out the mountain, he's a meek and humble lamb, and he's of the living of King David. Yes, he's the seed of Abraham. I said, now one day he died out on Calvary just to set my soul free. Now keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service. Now yes, I am a high fighting soldier, I'm on the back. Now church, I am a high fighting soldier, I'm on the back. Now yes, I am a high fighting soldier, I'm on the battlefield. I'll keep on bringing souls to. Yes, we got to bring them souls to. Yes, we got to bring them souls to. Clothe and feed them now, bring them souls souls to Jesus. We got to bring souls to Jesus by the service that I give.
Yes, sir. Amen. Amen.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning again. Y'all doing all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As was said, I'm Brother Patrick Williams. I don't know about the great and masterful and all them adjectives. I'm just a country boy from Oklahoma who God said, I got plans for you.
All right now. Come on, Pat.
For those who don't know me, I grew up in the church. Spencer Church of Christ is who I give a lot of credit to, Brother Clyde Muse. And I was a back row Christian. And if you don't know what that means, I sat in the very, very back. Like behind the back. So far in the back, the Brother Muse blocked off the last 3 rows and told me and some other people we had to move up. So if you'd have told me now I'd be in the front, I would have told you it's never going to happen. So I just let everybody know that if you got somebody right now and you're looking at them and they're in the back, don't worry. If God got a plan for them, they'll be in the front before you know it. Just stay with them. Stay with them. All right. It's enough of my story. Let me get into it. They let me bat lead off, which I don't understand why, but if you're going to let me bat lead off, then I better set it up real nice, right? So whoever coming behind me can just step right in. John chapter 15. If you would like to turn there in your Bibles, John chapter 15. And if you've ever studied the book of John, it's a very, very, very interesting book. When you study the Gospels, the thing you have to know is the audience who they're writing to.
All right now.
Matthew was writing to the Jews. Mark was writing to the Gentiles. John is writing to Christians. So by writing to Christians, his delivery, what he's saying to me becomes very relatable to us. Right. Not that the other Gospels aren't, but if you're writing to a Jewish audience, some of the things Matthew was saying were said specifically that the Jews would understand. Right. Mark was writing things specifically that the Gentile suffering could understand. Right. So John is writing to Christians like I consider ourselves today, that it is so plain that we can understand what he is saying. Right. So when you get to chapter 15, and John, he had given Christ's story so good, where Christ had done 7 miracles before he gets to this point. Right. Those miracles being, he made a blind see, he healed the lame, and the last one that just caused so much disruption was that he had raised Lazarus from the dead. And after he had raised Lazarus from the dead, that's when those who opposed Jesus said, we've had enough of this man. This man has got to go because he's having too many people believe in him. So the chapters after chapter 11, Jesus knows that it's getting close to him reaching the time where he's going to leave us. Right. So he's preparing his disciples to do their work after he leaves. So 15, you cannot look at without not looking at 14. Because in 14, he prepares them with a lot of the same things that he's saying in 15. But in 15, he just uses an analogy or a metaphor to start off 15. But if you look closely in it, which is what we're going to do, and I know I just got 2 verses, or 3, because I got to do 1. I can't do 1 without doing 2 or 3. But I got to let you know that 14 sets up 15. Okay. See, many people say 15 is a continuation of his farewell disclosure. Farewell meaning he's getting ready to depart. So he's preparing them to let them know that even though I'm leaving, you ready to carry on the work that I have started. Right now. See, he's talking to the disciples, but even though he's talking to the disciples, it can help each and every one of us. But I have to let you know he's talking to the disciples because that explains why he says what he says in these verses. Right. Is that all right? Is that, can we teach? Is that all right if we teach for a minute? So if we're going to teach, you got to look at verse 1. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Brother Proctor, I could just stop right there, and we all need 2 or 3, but I got to keep going. But let me start. See, he says, I am. See, when you see I am, Jesus is telling you that I am, meaning it is only I mean Jesus, that these things can take place. Right. See, this is the 7th I am used in John. See, he said, I am the bread of life. Now when he said the bread of life, he said, I am the light of the world. And then he said, I am the door. Then he said, I am the good shepherd. Then he said, I am the resurrection of life. Then he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Right now.
And now he says, I am the true vine. See, when you see I am, he's telling you it can only be through me.
All right now.
So I am the true vine. Now the word vine here was so instrumentally used. See, vine can lead to the branches. But see, you can't have the vine without the root being planted in the soil. So what does he say after he say, I am the true vine? He said, my Father is the vine dresser.
All right now.
So right there he's telling you, yes, I am the vine, but it is my Father who orchestrated all of this to take place.
All right now.
See, Jesus immediately giving credit to who? To God as being the orchestrator, the planner of the vine. But Jesus is saying, I am the true vine that came from my Father.
That's good.
So if you know, let's look at vine dresser. See, a vine dresser is something that works 24/7. See, let me relate to. See, if you've ever been in a vineyard, a vine dresser doesn't just work one day a week. A vine dresser's work starts once it's planted, and it does not stop at any time because you have to continually cultivate the vine.
All right now.
If you don't cultivate the vine, then you don't get the branches. So once the vine is planted, the vine dresser constantly works. So what he's saying, God is continually working to cultivate the vine. See, God knew what he was doing when he made Jesus the true vine. But I want you to keep in mind that a vine dresser never stops working. See, a vine dresser has to water the vine. A vine dresser has to cultivate the soil. A vine dresser has to make sure the vine is growing properly. A vine dresser has to make sure the vine is getting enough sun. A vine dresser has to make sure that the vine is getting enough food. See, the vine dresser's work never ends. What am I telling you? God is going to be watching you 24/7 to make sure that you have what you need. But to get what you need, he needed a vine to attach so that the branches could grow, and that vine is Jesus Christ. So verse 1, Jesus is telling you, I am the vine, but it is God who orchestrated this whole plan. So verse 2, he says, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. Yeah. All right. Every branch. See, every branch on the vine is profitable to God. Okay. See, there's no branch that God can't make fruitful. See, there's no branch that's not useful to God. See, why am I saying that? Sometimes people don't think that they are a branch that God can use. I want to tell you, God can use every branch. He can make every branch bear fruit. So don't look at yourself as not being fruitful. Know that God can make you fruitful. You just have to let him in so that he can make you fruitful. See, Jesus said, every branch in me. See, that means every branch that believes in the Son, that being Jesus Christ, God can make useful. I told you I was in the back row. See, I didn't know I was a branch God was going to put in the front. But God said, you don't need to know that you're a branch I'm going to use. You just hang around and believe in my Son, and I'll give you the strength to be the branch, the fruit that I want to use. But the only way you can be the useful fruit is you got to believe in the Son. See, it's being planted in each and every one of you. And don't think that you're losing what's been taught. Trust me, I sat in the back and I didn't know. I remember some things that Brother Clyde Muse said. But then it pops in my head and I go, how do I remember that? That's because I was believing in what I heard and did not even realize it. But it also means that God had a plan for me and I didn't even know he had a plan for me. See, every branch in me. See, if you want to understand this further, go back to John 14 and read verse 20. For time's sake, I'm not going to read it all. But Jesus told the disciples that I'm only going to be here for a little while longer. But I am in my Father, and you are in me. See, that verse right there tells all of us in this room that we are a child of God. And as long as we believe in Jesus Christ, then we can be in Jesus Christ. So every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. To make this analogy make sense to you, he was talking to all the disciples in 14. Judas was about to betray him. He's letting you know that Judas, even though he's sitting here with you, is a branch that's not going to bear fruit, and God's going to take them away. See, if you don't do the commandments and obey them, then yes, God is there for you, but he's not going to he's going to take you away because you do not believe in his son. But every branch that bears fruit, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. See, if you know anything about pruning, you cleaning it. You're removing all the things that stop the branch from growing the fruit. So what he's saying is, if you're growing fruit, I can still clean you up so that you can grow more fruit. Just because you bearing fruit don't mean you don't need a little cleaning so that you can bear more fruit. See, don't get confident thinking that just because you come to church on Sunday, you don't need a little cleaning to bear more fruit. See, you still got to be pruned because what's happening? The outside world is still there. See, pruning doesn't have to be in the inside. It's got to be in the outside as well. See, pruning is cleaning. So you got to clean yourself of things that could take you away from God. Pruning is inside so that you believe what you hear. You clean out all the negativity that's inside. See, if you know me, I tell you all the time, you never get rid of a habit. You just replace it with a new one. So all that bad stuff y'all used to do is still in your head. But in order for you not to do it anymore, you got to keep replacing it with godly things. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You ever sitting there and you like, I used to do this 20 years ago. How is this back coming up? Because you never lose it. Oh, I wish we could. Brother Wallace, I wish the things we did when we were 16, we did not remember. But they don't go away. So you got to prune the inside by adding new things constantly. Let me get done. Somebody else got to go. See, he says, you are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Remember, who did I say he was talking to? The disciples. See, he's telling them, you already clean. You've heard these things. But why is he telling them that? Because he knows what's going to happen when he's not there. But they don't get it yet. They don't get it. But he's telling them, you have heard the truth. You have seen me. And when I'm gone, know you have already been clean to the word of God so that you have the strength to carry on. See, he said, you are already clean of the word which I have spoken to you. Let me deal with word and then I'm done. See, the word is what cleans you and I. See, somebody look at me like, what you mean? See, it's the word that brought you to Jesus Christ in the first place. And it's the word that will keep you in Jesus Christ when you're going through something. See, let me make it a little bit simple. If you're hungry, you can't feed the hunger until you get the food and prepare the meal. Right? You can be hungry all you want. But you got to have some food to take in so that the hunger goes away. See, in this instance, your hunger is the word of God. And if you want to feed your spiritual growth, you need the word so that it will quench whatever it is you're going through so that Jesus can help you. So you need the word just like they needed the word. The word for them was because they were fortunate enough to walk right beside Jesus Christ. The word for us is right here in the Bible that we read it every day and we believe what we read and we allow it to manifest in our hearts so that it can carry us through whatever situation it is that we're going through. See, you're going to face some tough times. And if you're going to face the tough times, the only thing that can get you through them is the word and your belief in Jesus Christ. It's good to have a friend, Brother Antoine. I would love to call you if I'm going through something. But I still need the word and Jesus Christ to help me get through it. I need him to reinforce the word and Jesus Christ so that I can get through it. See my last word, I'm done for Brother Proctor put a sign up. If I had to sum up all three of these, Jesus is starting this chapter by saying, we are one. And your oneness with God is through me. That me being Jesus Christ. He said, only through me, because I am the true vine, can you get to my Father, who is the vine dresser, who will prune you and who will clean you through his word. So if you're going through some things, or if you trying to figure out how can I get to the Father, start with his son. And let his son unite you with the Father and watch how it'll help you grow. That's all I got. You see?
Good word, man.
Still